got the Detroit Lions out there, man. And the Detroit Lions were one of the most fun teams to watch last year. Who doesn't love Dan Campbell? That guy is one of my all-time favorite coaches, and he's only been there for a couple of years. I love what they're doing out there, and Detroit is set up for the future. They re-signed Jared Goff. I feel like that Jameson is going to finally make that step up to be a legit wide receiver that they drafted high for. D-Mike, my man, what's your thoughts on the Lions, bro?
I think their offense is still going to show that they're great. Last year, they were shooting with just anybody putting up points per points. The thing I'm worried about is their defense, man, because their secondary depleted a little bit, losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Eagles, and their secondary last year was kind of weak. They were like in the middle, or if not the bottom of the pack of the league in secondary, and I think that they're going to remain there this year. They didn't really do some crazy significant moves. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but as I'm remembering right now, there's no significant moves that I can remember. So it's just like I'm worried on what their pass defense is going to look like, and especially in a division with Jordan Love and these receivers, Caleb Williams and these receivers, and obviously the Vikings don't have a star-studded quarterback, but they still have some great receivers as well. So if your secondary is not doing work, it's going to be tough to stop teams from scoring. And if you're going neck and neck, just like the Bears, the final 2 minutes are going to haunt you.
Yeah, so they did draft Arnold out of Alabama, who was one of the top corners in the league. So they did try to short up a little bit, but I totally agree with you. That's going to be their biggest downfall for the Lions is going to be that defense. BC, how you feeling about the Lions and their defense? I mean, obviously the offense has a bunch of star power, but that defense is kind of in trouble.
I think that they made some good moves in certain areas. Obviously, bringing in DJ Reader from Cincinnati, getting Marcus Davenport from Minnesota. I think those are going to be some good moves as far as the shore up the trenches. But yeah, secondary-wise, they needed some help. They didn't really do a whole lot to address that this offseason. So I think that's going to be – it's like the opposite of the Falcons. They addressed a lot on the corners, getting Arnold and Carlton Davis, or getting him from the Bucs. That's going to be a decent move. But as far as their safeties go, their back end is going to be very porous. So it's going to be hit or miss with that back end of that defense. But I also think though too with Davis, I know some people are, trying now to puff him up and everything. I don't think that he moves the needle that much for them in terms of corners. Yes, he was a starting corner when the Bucs won the Super Bowl, but dude had a lot of problems going into this past year. The fact that he's injury prone, the fact that he basically, if you get any form of separation from him, he's toast. So I think that they on paper, they try to make some good moves in terms of the secondary, but I think overall, aside from Arnold, I don't think that it's going to really be enough to help that back end of the defense. But again, love the moves up front, just not so much on the back end.
Yeah, the Lions were so confident in their offense that they only drafted an offensive guard, and I believe that was in the sixth round. So they feel really confident on that side, but they also figured they need to shore up that defense, like Mike was saying down there. The Lions are really interesting team, and I'm really excited for the Lions because let's face it, Detroit has had nothing but misery for so long. The Tigers have been awful. The Pistons have been awful. It's great to see the Lions finally stepping up, and I know all the other division rivals are like, screw that, we hate the Lions, but it is finally nice to see them being relevant for something in there. So I really enjoy the story with the Lions in there.